Samsung, proud sponsor of TechBusters.
Joined by their CEO, Will Green, from our Cape Town studios. Thanks for joining us, Will.
Thanks, Toby.
That's a really large screen. You look very much like a Lannister, if it wasn't for the city in the background instead of Game of Thrones. So now, of course, social media is all about getting a little bit of attention, me. So this obviously suits a social, a political party just before an election, right?
Correct.
And what are the trends that you see? I mean, is it a matter of the largest party has the biggest voice, or are some of the parties understanding the effectiveness of something strategic on Twitter?
Very interestingly, we saw early on that Julius Malema had a very large Twitter following, and that's what's really spawned the research that we did over the past 2 months. Over the weeks, we've been tracking to see exactly what political parties are doing, and it was very interesting to see that Facebook was more aligned to the party, whereas Twitter was more aligned to the politician.
Oh, that's very interesting. So there is a different kind of association compared to social networks.
Correct.
Not many.
I think it all comes down to Facebook being a community to connect, and Twitter coming from being a microblogging platform. So it was really around other people's individual views.
Yeah, Bizstone would hate you for calling it a microblogging platform. But I mean, apart
it's
from
moved along a lot since then.
Yes, and since chicken salads, Bill. Apart from Helen Zille's usual gaffes, I mean, what are the other things that you've seen that have been standout from a political party? I mean, in many ways, it's just another channel. It's just another marketing channel. It's just another way for people to draw attention to themselves. But is anyone doing it well?
Correct. I think, in politics, there's a bottom line. You've got to win it on the ground, but you've also got to win it in the air. And social media and digital media is just another channel in the airways. What we saw, which was quite intriguing, was each party, had a certain strategy. We saw that the EFF had a Malema Q&A session over 2 Mondays, one Monday and one Tuesday.
Was one of the questions?
That was quite interesting.
Was one of the questions, how do you spell the word economic? How many C's are in the word economic?
To be honest, it was, we saw it starting in Twitter and then moving across into Facebook. So that was the most interesting insight, that it basically has to be integrated across your traditional media channels, TV, radio, as well as which we saw with the DA doing with their YouTube and TVC.
I mean, I know you live in Cape Town, Will, and this question might be difficult, but is there anything, apart from the waves, that have blown you away from any of the on any of the social networks? Has anyone done anything that's made you forget about all the other stuff, go, I would vote for them based on that little piece of communication genius? Has there been any genius, or is it just,
I think the proverbial digital baby kissing, if you want to call it that, has been the way that politicians have actually, in their personal capacity, answered individual questions from individual citizens. So I think that's what's been quite consistent. But I think this was a dipstick research. It was independent. We weren't paid for it. So for us, it was more just to see exactly what the politicians were doing, because that's what we do with brands. So there was nothing really that blew us away. However, I think there was consistency in what parties were doing, which was quite nice, because essentially we do see this as being South Africa's first digital election.
Indeed, and in fact, the only channel that any political party has contacted me on is like old media. If we define SMS as that, it's old technology.
Exactly. I think the DA didn't win many fans off their sort of SMS strategy. The jury's still out whether or not that was an effective strategy. What was quite interesting.
Well, I'm afraid we're running out of time. Well, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us.
Sure.